I stumbled across a pretty girl online one day. More specifically, we met in a local city chat. She was funny, sharp, and charming, and she instantly caught my attention. But there was a twist. Zoe was married and had a young son. Still, that didn't stop us from chatting. One evening, she messaged me with just a few words. "My husband and I have separated." To be honest, there was quite a bit of time between that message and our first date. She hesitated, took her time, but I wasn't in any rush. Finally, we met up for a walk in the park, where I casually told her about my plans to become a truck driver soon. In the meantime, I was working as a security guard at a local supermarket. I wasn't lying. My friend's father owned a small international transport company, and they were ready to take me on, as long as I completed extra training and logged some miles. I was already daydreaming about hitting the road, talking non-stop about the amazing opportunities ahead. Zoe just nodded and listened with genuine interest. Before I knew it, the evening flew by. It got dark, and I couldn't help but wonder who was watching the baby while we were out. Zoe answered calmly, "My husband." In my surprise, I tripped over a rock and ended up tearing the sole off my shoe. And just like that, our first date came to an awkward end. Once I got home, I thought about everything. I realized I actually wanted to see where things could go with her, even though, deep down, I knew that leaving a small child at home with an ex while running around on dates wasn't the best idea. But this pattern seemed to repeat itself, and I eventually got used to it. Our relationship grew. I started staying over at her place, got to know her son, and surprisingly, I was starting to enjoy that kind of life. What bugged me, though, was that Zoe and her ex hadn't made their divorce official. I didn't want to pressure her, but the whole hiding in the shadows thing was getting old. The kid was turning 3, and Zoe was always rushing off to work. Any job she could get her hands on. I suggested she come work with me at the supermarket, but she turned me down flat. Honestly, I can't even remember where she ended up working. Maybe it was an electronics store or a place that sold appliances. Doesn't really matter anymore. What matters is that she was surrounded by young guys there, and she definitely got a lot of attention. Some of them were even pretty persistent. And then one night Zoe blew me up. She wanted to divorce her ex. A month later, we were already married, and everything was fine at first. But it passed, and everything changed dramatically. The next thing that happened was our divorce. She attacked me, accusing me of cheating, and even saying that I had some kind of disease that was apparently transmitted to men. She criticized me for being ineffective, and said that working as a security guard in a supermarket is all I'm capable of in life. I was stunned. I looked at her, trying to figure out where it all came from. The way she ended it was so cruel that I hardly recognized the Zoe I fell in love with. And that's how it ended. My life quickly turned into a continuous binge, and one evening our mutual friend told me that she saw Zoe in the arms of some guy from her store. It really hurt me. I won't lie, it hurt. Time passed. I moved, started a new relationship, graduated, and even started commuting regularly for work. The life of a trucker doesn't sound very attractive, but the salary turned out to be better than I imagined. In addition, shopping abroad turned out to be quite a lucrative activity. My new wife and I were even looking for an apartment when Zoe reappeared in my life. By that time, it had been about 3 years since we broke up. She wrote to me on social media. I heard we should meet and talk. I agreed, but I wasn't going to rush anywhere. Actually, I decided to have some fun and fooled her for a couple of weeks. I thought I'd changed, but Zoe, she has changed even more. There's nothing left of the girl I once knew in her. She changed jobs, moved between guys, and her ex-husband stopped paying alimony. Her rented apartment turned into a financial nightmare. Life was like a blow to her head. Zoe wrote me every day, complaining about her job, her men, her life. Each time, the conversation ended with her telling me how I was the best thing that ever happened to her, and how she wanted to come back. I just nodded along. The fact that she was still reaching out didn't bother me, but the whole thing was starting to get old. She had no problem with me being in a relationship, and somehow, the idea that I was still in love with someone who had cheated on me stopped being funny. In the end, I realized I needed to let it go for good.